What's going on, guys? I figured this would be a great video series to start. Let's do some recaps of the episodes, you guys. You know, for those who maybe don't have Amazon or just want to come talk about the episode afterward, guys, we're going to talk about it. Be warned, this is your only warning. There will be spoilers in this video, absolutely. However, I will not be giving away those screenshots. I didn't know what I wanted to say, but I will not be actually showing it on screen. But I will be talking about it. So guys, before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and let's dive into Invincible Season 2, Episode 1. So we begin the episode with a previously on giving us a summary of events of this first season of Invincible from when Mark discovers his powers. We see Omni-Man, of course, oh my gosh, defeat the Guardians of the Globe, kill them actually. And then we see other things that happen in the first season as well. We get a really good recap of some of the biggest moments in the season. So guys, we open up the episode and it's the night right after the end of season 1, but not quite. We then see Immortal and Mark battling in the sky, and we don't really understand why at first. There's this battle going on and Mark's holding his own against the Immortal. He references him and says that he's like his dad, and there's all these weird, seemingly off-putting things going on. The battle is dope, by the way. Like I said, Mark was holding his own in this battle. I'm like, dude, Mark full potential? Dude. And then we see Omni-Man intervene, and man, does he do some damage. So the weirdest thing about this is Invincible and Omni-Man are working together. What? We saw Omni-Man fly away, right? Well, I think sharp-eyed viewers already know where this is going. So we then see a underground where Omni-Man and Invincible are telling the people of Earth to surrender to them. Again, very uncharacteristic things, an apocalyptic world. The Viltrumites have taken over the planet, y'all. We see this scrappy guy in a hoodie. It seems like he's up to something, but we see him go underground, and then we slowly see, okay, this guy is affiliated with the Guardians of the Globe, the remains of them at least. We see Robot, we see Adam Eve. Clearly Adam Eve has a different haircut. There's two robots. Things are definitely different here. If you haven't picked up on it already, you haven't picked up on it. Definitely will reveal it later in the recap, but I'm pretty sure you'll pick up what's going on here. Then, of course, the underground sanctuary is attacked by Invincible and Omni-Man, and the remaining Guardians of the Globe fight him, and man, Mark easily overpowers Eve. Robot battles against Omni-Man and is easily defeated. However, Robot uses laser that did a little bit of damage, and for whatever reason, he let off the trigger. Not a good idea. Like, he should have just laid it all Omni-Man, bro. But anyway, they both get defeated, and it seems as though Adam Eve was killed by Invincible, but he doesn't actually kill her, just incapacitates her. Of course, due to her ability, she cannot be killed. I don't think there's any way of getting around it, but hey, y'all let me know. Omni-Man viciously defeats Robot too. Ooh, it's vicious. Omni-Man and Mark almost wipe out the guy in the hoodie, and the fact that these guys are so vicious is crazy. The man in the hoodie escapes in a portal, and man, we just see all of the people in that underground sanctuary unfortunately get obliterated. We don't actually see it on screen, but yeah, Omni-Man and Invincible take care of them. Let's just say that, and it's horrifying. If you haven't picked up on it already, they are in an alternate universe here in the beginning of the show. So this isn't the Mark that we know and love. This is just an alternate universe. We pick up back in the universe we're used to, and we see Mark looking at the site of the battle. It's been a little while. I believe it's been about a year since the battle. We see Mark saving and helping others, just kind of flying around saving people. However, he doesn't actually get into a battle when he sees a few adversaries, a few villains clearly, taking down some other stuff. Invincible, after a long day of crime fighting, really reflects on the things that have happened, man. It's a sad time for him. Heck, it's a sad time for the town. There's a news report, life after Omni-Man, really reflecting the things that happened after the damage that Omni-Man caused. We see Debbie and Mark sharing a morning hug, and you know, they've been through a lot. It's so obvious that a lot is still going on between the two of them, but they still have each other, and that's a positive. They even see the exploded house from across the street. Now we pick up in a high security prison where the Maulers are captured, and soon we'll see them escape through 2 portals and go to another place. And what's crazy about this other place is you see the uniform on the guard who was talking to them, so it seems to be the same location, but hey, what do I know? We see them talk with a gentleman who looks exactly like the guy we saw from the beginning in the hoodie. This is Angstrom Levy, a guy who wants to unite the world and share and learn knowledge from across different universes. There are ways to cure cancer, ways to solve things that haven't been solved here but have in different universes. And he wants to trade a lot of that knowledge around so they can all save all universes. Crazy, right? His ability is to travel through the different dimensions. And through these different dimensions, he can acquire knowledge from the other versions of himself. We see Mark go back to school, and man, things are awkward, especially when the school bully comes up and hugs him, gives him a big hug after he heard about what happened with Omni-Man and his dad and the whole mix up with all of that. So unfortunate. He does say something that briefly triggers Mark. However, Amber pulls him away and they get away from that, fortunately, because, I mean, really, if this guy would have riled up Mark the wrong way, who knows? We see Mark meet up with Cecil and see about going to fight crime officially again, being a part of the, either the Guardians of the Globe or working with him, and Cecil identifies that it's not quite time for him to get back in the field. A lot has happened, a lot of things have changed, and it's unfortunate when Mark slams the table and says he's not like his father. But that right there just is the confirmation for Cecil that it's not time for him to get back in the field yet. We see Cecil then zapping into the Guardians of the Globe. They're taking on this giant monster, and yeah, apparently this is the ability of like a child, which he says some things in the middle of the battle with them that makes it obvious that it's a kid. He's like, when I grow up, I want to be the president and an astronaut. I'm like, very obvious that is a child. We see them all strategizing, and we see Robot tense up. Something happens during the battle where he just kind of freezes up, and he is then saved by his teammates. We also see them explode the middle of a street in order to bury this giant, which we see some cool action and teamwork from the Guardians of the Globe in this little sequence. It's really cool to get back with them. Love seeing all their abilities working together. Angstrom and the Maulers continue to build on the machine that he's using to connect different connections from the universe. And guys, it results in like an explosive end to this episode. Angstrom then introduces the Maulers to the family, which is different versions of him, all working together to accomplish his big plan. Crazy, right? The same guy in different versions, all to chat about this big plan. It's crazy. We then see Debbie get home and a stranger has a knife in their hand. And listen, y'all, I was worried about this, but it's just Olga. Olga is the wife of Red Rush, who was a member of the Guardians of the Globe, and she then sits down with Debbie. They have a nice cooked dinner. She cooked her a meal, and they have a discussion that Debbie needed to have for so long. She talks about how it feels with Nolan gone. She doesn't get too deep, but Olga then lets her know it's okay to be sad and angry at the same time. She completely relates to her. Even though one's husband killed the other, she's still there for her. It's not like this is Debbie's fault, and I love this scene so much because Debbie needed this. She didn't want to break down in front of Mark, and it's hard for her to bottle it all in. I love how they play this out. Sandra Oh is amazing in this sequence, and I'm loving where they're taking this character this season. I won't spoil any further. However, I love it. Love it, love it. Olga then gives Debbie a card, tells her to call this person. I'm assuming it's a psychologist, but tells her to give them a call. Mark comes in, things are kind of awkward. He heads up to the room, and Olga leaves the card there for Debbie, which I thought was such a good thing of her to do, especially because her husband murdered her husband. So it's not as if she even had to be friendly with Debbie. That was like very nice of that woman. We then see Cecil ripping into the Guardians of the Globe, giving them a lecture, saying they're sloppy, they're causing a lot of damage, they're not saving people. Listen, he is getting into them, so they need a new leader, and their new leader is the Immortal. Cecil then reveals they're also bringing in some more muscle. They bring in one of my favorite characters from the comics, Bulletproof. And yeah, Rex gets completely cooked by him. He tries to diss him a little bit, and yeah, Bulletproof cooks his ass. You see Mark meet up with Adam Eve, and she talks a little bit about, you know, him being invincible. When's the last time he was invincible? He then reflects a little bit on his childhood and how when he wanted to grow up, he wanted to be like his dad, and now he's worried he will become like his dad. Of course, Eve reassures him that no, he is not Omni-Man just because he's his son. That is not gonna happen with him. We then see Mark bust in on Cecil and says, hey, throw me in the ring, I'm ready. And hey, they get him signed up with an earpiece. He's onto a mission to see what the Maulers are up to. He sends in Invincible to duke it out with them and see what's going on. Angstrom and the Maulers are now commencing his master plan, and Invincible shows up. He's there to stop the party. Not happening. However, Angstrom tries to tell him what he's up to is for the greater good. And while it does seem like it is still to the extreme, and then when Invincible and the Maulers start duking it out, Invincible's excited. He's got that thrill, that rush of battling. He's actually handling them really well. I'm proud of our boy Mark. He's handling business, okay? But unfortunately, Angstrom summons forth more of the Mauler brothers from other dimensions, and they all, while they are getting their ass beat by Mark for a minute, they all then get the best of Mark and start beating on him, wailing on him. Angstrom interrupts the process of his machine and device, and a brutal explosion goes off. After it, Mark is upset that he could not save the people that had been affected by this explosion. And I mean, it was pretty bad, guys. Rex actually shows up and is the one to console Mark, which is something that's not very in character for Rex. So I thought this was a great moment with this character. And then we see Mark fly home, meet up with Debbie, tell her that he's working for Cecil. Oh, and I almost forgot, Amber and Mark open up their college acceptance letters. They both get accepted to the same college. So sweet. I don't know, some of y'all don't like Amber, but I like Amber. I think she's awesome. And after that discussion, he walks outside. The Immortal catches up to him. And man, the Immortal tells him straight to his face that he doesn't trust him, especially after what happened with Omni-Man. Cut to black. Oh, and there's a post-credit, guys. Angstrom is pissed with what happened to Mark. We see him looking more similar to his comic book counterpart. His brain is like melting out of his body. He looks awful. And he is out for revenge, y'all. So we are left with that at the end, guys. A great episode. I really enjoyed this first episode of Invincible. We're gonna get some more of this character of Angstrom Levy, guys. Be on the lookout because I'm sure we're gonna get more of him. But y'all, what did you think about this episode? I really thought this was a great opening to the season 2 of Invincible. I thought it was worth the wait. And you know, listen, I thought, man, it's just as good as season 1. I feel like, listen, I am going ahead and checking out the other episodes, but this episode was awesome. Awesome. Love the fight choreography in the end. Enjoyed the action. Really liked the voice acting and the story. It's so sad to see the tragedy and the aftermath of what happened with Omni-Man and to see the trauma that has really manifested in both Mark and Debbie. I'm glad we get the multiple perspectives, guys. This is a great little episode to get us back into the show. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.